Hi. So thank you for coming. I'll be presenting our social enterprise. So we established our group of social enterprises in 2004. No? So the first one that we established was a training and research and consulting organization in 2004. And then in 2008, one of its programs, a financing program, we spun it off into a different organization. And so we had a financing company. We're in other businesses as well. We have a real estate portfolio, and we want to focus on socialized housing in the near future. We're also involved in publications and advocacy and established SEDPI in Singapore to be able to run the Ateneo program there for overseas Filipino workers. And incidentally, we co-own a bank, which is the first microfinance bank in the Philippines, based in Catanduanes, in the Bicol region. So these are our areas of expertise, primarily in microfinance, financial literacy, and social entrepreneurship. But we also do work for interventions on pro-poor market development, climate change adaptation, and gender and development. These are our achievements so far. Since we began our operations in 2004, we've released about 1.8 billion pesos to microfinance institutions serving 500,000 microenterprises. We've also provided capacity building services to 7,000 socially oriented organizations all over the world. We've trained 12,000 overseas Filipino workers in 21 cities worldwide. And recently, we partnered with the government. Starting in 2015, we partnered with the government to bring government social protection services closer to micro-enterprises. We directly provide financial services to 7,000 rural households in Agusan del Sur and Surigao del Sur. This one is very close to our hearts because it's a partnership with the Ateneo de Manila University. We have about 800 diploma course graduates in the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. And we are also instrumental in building the capacity of 700 microfinance banks in Nigeria. We want to believe that, Ateneo and SEDPI were instrumental in introducing and nurturing the microfinance industry in that country. We did due diligence to ASA Philippines, floating for a 4 billion peso bond, and that bond was used to finance the operations and growth of this microfinance institution. We were also able to transform microfinance institution in Catanduanes. 4 years of consecutive losses, but when we provided the capacity building to them, in 1 year, they turned around their operations, and now they are the biggest microfinance institution in the Bicol region. So we've also developed operations manual for microfinance in the cooperative sector. And this generated 1 billion in savings and share capital. And the operations manual was actually used and replicated in 67 cooperatives all over the Philippines, serving about 200,000 clients. And in partnership with the Department of Agrarian Reform, we were able to design a micro-agri loan product that was rolled out to 23 cooperatives nationwide, which generated 343 million in micro loans, serving 17,000 agrarian reform beneficiaries, generating 75 million pesos. Ang daming pera, no? Sana akin na lang. Sana all. Anyway, so that's what we do. We primarily build capacities of development organizations and social enterprises like us. We were starting to influence policy so that we can replicate and scale our operations. And also, we do innovative financing in such a way that we provide opportunities for other organizations to grow, especially social enterprises that would otherwise would have difficult time gaining access to finance from the formal financial sector. So this is our impact for microfinance. We see that our members, they have improved education, so they're able to send their children to school, they are able to improve their housing, increase the number of rooms in the household, or build sanitary toilets. They were also able to increase their income. This one is very interesting because our clients, when they come to us, we interview them and ask them whether they are poor or not. Most of them would say that they are poor. 2 to 3 years down the road, we ask the same question to them, and about 20% of them would say they're no longer poor. To me, that is a very powerful statement because poverty is also a perception, right? So if you don't perceive yourself already as poor, I think there's a big jump in terms of your mindset. They also have improved businesses and they're able to feed their families well with improved nutrition. So these are the impact figures that we have in our microfinance operations. So what's our development model? The organizations that I mentioned earlier, each play a role in this development model. The training, research, and consulting organization, as well as the publications and advocacy, we provide capacity building services at the lower end, sa pinakababa, sa laylayan ng lipunan, to micro and small enterprises, farmers, fisher folks, and artisans. So this could be in the form of how to improve their livelihoods, how to build livelihoods, how to access financial services, and also financial literacy. When they already have income, how do they manage their income? We also provide support to microfinance institutions and social enterprises. And we also provide capacity building to overseas Filipino workers worldwide who we transform and influence to become what we call social investors. What happens here is our financing company provides loans to the organizations, to microfinance and social enterprises, as well as the micro enterprises. We also provide direct to these organizations. The microfinance institutions, social enterprises, and the micro enterprises, as proof of our loan to them, they sign a promissory note to us. So how do we mobilize the investments? How do we mobilize the funds to be able to do the funding part of our program? It comes from the social investors. So the overseas Filipino workers who become social investors, they sign a joint venture agreement with another organization that we manage, the SEDPI Social Enterprise Ventures. This organization will now invest in the financing company in the form of social investments. And that's where we will get the money to give a loan, and then promissory note goes up, and here we provide preferred shares, and the dividend and interest will now go to the social investors, to our overseas Filipino workers. That's what we have been doing in the past 15 years. So how have we grown? From 2004 to 2009, we focused on internally generated funds. So meaning the money that we earned from our capacity building services, as well as a small amount that we were able to mobilize from our family and friends, that's what we used to finance our growth. Until 2010 and 2011, where Cord-Aid came. Cord-Aid is a Dutch NGO that provided us with a loan because Cord-Aid said, we want you to scale up because you provide capacity building services and financing to development organizations. It's one thing that the conventional banks and the capital markets are not doing. So the ultimate goal of this is if we are able to build your track record in managing large amount of funds, our hope is that the conventional banks will come in and be able to support your growth while we exit. That's what happened. So from 26 million pesos, we grew to 122 million pesos in a span of 2 years. The goal of this program was achieved in 2012 when BPI came and said, you already have a track record. We want to extend a loan to you. That's one thing that we are very proud of. We never asked for a loan, but people always keep on coming and say, do you want money? I said yes. If the impact would be the ones that I showed you a while ago, of course, no, the temptation is there to scale up because you're not only enriching yourself, you're also having positive impact at the national level. After the Bank of the Philippine Islands came, Land Bank of the Philippines also extended loan to us, and then Union Bank and the Development Bank of the Philippines. This is the highest financial resources that we had until 2017 and 2018 came. So from 339 million, it went down to 201, and last year it's 180. Right now, I think we're at the 150 million peso level. So what happened? So pigilan niya ako ha, baka bumigay ako dito. Okay, so just to show you what happened. So this is the same graph that I showed you a while ago. The green portion is our liabilities. The blue portion is our share capital. And that little faint red line there, you can almost see it. That's our net income. So that's how social enterprises operate. So talagang uunahin ang social mission. Basta hindi ka magutom at hindi ka mamamatay. Kailangan, you have to do this. No? So if you observe the growth of our organization was actually debt-driven. So our growth is primarily financed by debt. But even then, no, here in Ateneo, sino sa School of Management dito? O, di ba tinuturuan tayo na, okay, debt-to-equity ratio, dapat ganito lang, di ba? Mga ganyan. So in the financial world, the debt-to-equity ratio should be 1:8, meaning you have 1 equity and you can borrow up to 8 times of that. So I thought we were being safe. Kasi if you take a look at these figures, this one, which is our highest debt level, our equity was 75 million and liability was 264. So this is about 1 peso of equity for every 3.5 pesos liability. Given that, once tinuturo sa school, parang, okay, safe ka pa. You're turning a profit and you're doing well until something happened. Okay, so these are our challenges. One microfinance institution that we were serving closed down. So out of our portfolio in the past 15 years, it only took 1 account to make my stomach go tumbling around. We lost 12 million pesos with this account. While this was happening, sabi ko, grabe talaga si Lord, no? When it rains, it pours. Akala ko yun na yun. And then, this came. One of the cooperatives that we were serving, the general manager died in the, what's that incident near the airport? Resorts World. So isa siya sa mga biktima sa Resorts World. And our exposure to that cooperative was 60 million pesos. Oh, 60 million pesos. And then there's also another organization, ASCII, one of our large organizations. It turned sour. So for 2 consecutive years, nag-incur siya ng losses. And the exposure was 30 million pesos. So this is close to 100 million pesos. Diba? This happened, I went into therapy kasi depression talaga no set in. For example, these 2 organizations, we couldn't leave them eh. I mean, hindi po pwede na titigil yung serbisyo mo sa kanila because kapag ititigil mo, you're also giving up not just to yourself but also to the people you serve. At mahirap siya. It's a very delicate balancing act. And then what happened was the conventional banks provides opportunity for growth but doesn't share equitable financial risk. I'll explain more about that later. But I just want to go back to these 2 organizations. Like Sacred Heart, namatay yung general manager, nagkaroon ng bank run, no, cooperative run actually, in dun sa organization na yon. And what did we do? Did we make their loan due and demandable? Kasi pwede mo gawin yun eh. Nagkakagulo na and nagre-request sila ng delay for the payments. And in the contract that they signed, we said that if there's even 1 delayed payment, we can make the loans due and demandable. But is that an action that we wanted to take? The answer was no. What did we do? We went there and talked to the General Assembly. So we had an emergency General Assembly to bring back the confidence to the cooperative. And ganito din si ASCII. Si ASCII, lahat ng kaniyang mga creditors, nung nag-turn ng losses, iniwan siya. Sino lang ang natira? Land Bank of the Philippines at SEDPI. Yabang nung SEDPI, no? Kasi sinasabi namin na parang hindi po pwedeng at the time that you need us the most, ay dun namin kayo iiwan. Diba? So, at kami, we were already having difficulty, but grabe yung indoctrination ng Ateneo. Nando pa rin yung cura personalis. Diba? Pero I think you also need cura personalis for yourself. So, our growth was largely financed by conventional banking, which provided, I'll give them this, they provided us the opportunity to grow, but they don't share on the financial risks. When we had that 12 million pesos in loan losses, buti na lang mahaba-haba yung loan loss provision namin, nakayanan pa niya. We still paid them normally. Yung interest, ganun pa rin. Actually, tumaas pa nga yung interest because now we're riskier. So, that's what happened to us. 2016, 2017, I went into depression and even my teaching stint here in Ateneo got affected. That was the lowest ever evaluation that I had in my class. And I had to tell my director na ganito kasi nangyayari. So actually, effort na nga yung pumasok. pero gagawin ko pa din. And this is where I found out that I have high-functioning depression. And that's more difficult to spot Kasi at the outside, you look okay, but inside, there's already Yolanda. So what were the solutions? The first thing that I addressed was our losses with organization, no, the NGO that closed down. And the NGO that closed down, 12 million pesos yon. What we did was we took over their operations. Out of 34 branches that they used to have all over Mindanao, we were able to take over two branches. Yung losses na 12 million, we were able to recover about 2.7 million pesos. We slowly grew the portfolio because the talent is there, the clients are there. From 2.7, yung microfinance portfolio namin, it grew to 21 million in 2017. Now it's 34.5 million pesos. It's turning something of a weakness into opportunities. Mahirap yan pero nung nandun ka, Diyos ko Lord, wag na ako bigyan ng ganyan, okay? Tama na. This also happened because of our years of experience in providing advice and consulting services to organizations. So sabi namin ni Edwin, who co-founded the organization with me, no, parang kung kaya natin to gawin sa ibang organizations, we turn around their operations, why not to our own organization? Kaya ngayon, ang mas pinaprioritize namin is growing this portfolio. Tapos si Sacred Heart naman at saka si ASCII, eventually they improved their performance and they were able to pay all of their outstanding loans at ngayon wala silang palya sa amin. Another solution also of course is partnering with organization. Hindi ko kaya na kami lang. And that's one way of spreading the risk is to engage your partners to take on some of the burden. The temptation of most startup social enterprises is to do things your way, to do things on your own. Pero resist the temptation. Huwag mo nang ulitin yung mga nagawang mistakes ng iba before. Okay, and what were the action points that we're doing? So we, from a liability-led growth, we shifted our strategy in 2017. Ang gagawin na namin is to pay off all our loans from conventional banks because nga, the conventional banks don't share the financial risk. To me, that's not fair. Ay, sino ba may-ari ng mga conventional banks? Ayala, Henry C., Lucio Tan. Aba, nalulugi na ako, sila hindi pa rin. Kaya sila yung mayaman ng yung mayaman. At ako, ang linaw-linaw ng social impact, sila, ewan. Diba? So, that's why we shifted and now we are moving towards equity-led financing. And the way that we are growing our equity is through our overseas Filipino workers. We are very active in mobilizing investment from them. We would also want to influence policy and regulation to support capital markets for development. Dalawa kasi yan yung source of funds, diba? The financial markets is composed of the banking system, the conventional banks, and the capital markets. So we want to move towards the capital markets, developing social investments and promoting social investments para meron tayong source ng fund that would also share the risks with us. One of the strategies also here is to teach social finance class here in Ateneo. Kasi Ateneo, ako nag-aral and the finance discipline that I learned here in Ateneo is super corporate. So, kailangan maturuan ng puso ang mga nasa management para dumami tayo, di ba? And ako naniniwala na I have students who are now managers and directors of government agencies. At sabi ko, kung sana naturuan ko to ng social finance, they will become secretaries, undersecretaries 10, 20 years down the road. And we can easily influence policy in doing that. And one of the things that I would include in our social finance is to go towards Islamic financing or Islamic banking. Because Islamic banking shares profits and risks together. Yun. So conventional banking, out with the conventional banking, and I would like to go into social finance. One of the things that I also did was to surround myself with a strong support system, mentors and partners. Of course, akala ko ako lang yung may ganitong sentimiento, pero nung nag-usap kami ni Ana kanina, malamang si Riz din mamaya sasabihin niya na malaking bagay talaga kung sino yung pipiliin mong kapanalig mo sa buhay. Di ba? So be careful in who you marry or choose to be with in the long run. Kasi malaking parte talaga ng decision at gagawin mo sa buhay ay malaking parte manggagaling sa kanya. We stuck with our mission. Minsan, even if the financials don't make sense, the social mission would guide us. kung ano yung tamang gagawin. Before, if you ask me, what's social entrepreneurship? At ang sasabihin ko ay it's a balance between your financials and your social mission. Ngayon, ang sasabihin ko, no. It's social mission over financial. Because the social mission will direct how you do things and how you use your profits. That's one of the reasons why we also came into this conversation. Dahil yun nga, parang, nagdaan ako sa ganito, tapos wala akong kasama. Diba? Wala akong makausap. I sought an audience with Ana and Reese and other social entrepreneurs. Also, I was telling them, ganito yung pinagdaanan ko. Tapos sila din pala meron. Hindi ako nag-iisa. Diba? So let's talk about this. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to make an informal group and make it as informal as possible kasi kapag ginawa nating organization nito, magpopolitika na naman, sinong presidente, sinong vice president, ganyan. So it's an informal group, a community of practitioners, no? At yan yung gusto naming simulan. Yun yung nangyari. Thank you very much.